tonight on Red Eye.
Coming up on Red Eye, what's Jeremy Piven been up to since Entourage ended? We caught up with the superstar as he moved into his brand new luxury apartment. Plus, have the president and Joe Biden fallen off the wagon and given in to their addiction to nachos?
We're on a streak where that's the first time that's happened since 1997, but it was worth it.
And finally, how extreme did Lou Dobbs get over Labor Day weekend? The world's most electrifying newsman on how he showed some partygoers the time of their lives next. None of these stories on Red Eye tonight.
Dobbs. Let's welcome our guest. Well, she puts the hot in Photoshop. Yes, none of what you see is actually real. I'm here tonight with Joanna Osachinsky. Keep waving. And he wrote for Cheers, the show he recreates nightly with his multiple personalities. It's Rob Long, TV writer and producer. He's also one of the founders of the great website Ricochet.com. Well, he currently serves alongside a Kennedy, but hopefully he won't pull an LBJ. Camille Foster, co-host of The Independents, weeknights at 9 p.m. Eastern on Fox Business Network. Not even sure I get that joke. And you can't spell Lou Dobbs without bold S-O-B. Voted the sexiest man alive 23 times by People magazine, holder of a dozen Ultimate Fighting titles. Sitting right next to me, Lou Dobbs, host of Lou Dobbs Tonight, weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern on Fox Business Network. He's also co-author of the book Border War.
A-Block, the lead. That's the first story.
Can their tricks help carrot sticks? Hollywood's now interested in another kind of green for once, pushing veggies on impressionable youths. A new video from Funny or Die parodies dystopian young adult flicks like Divergent, Hunger Games, and Spaceballs, and features a cameo from snack food's mortal enemy, Michelle Obama. Here's a condensed clip. Fans of condensed clips? Yummy. Hollywood's effort to crush candy bars is the subject of tonight's Once again, we're joined by a live studio audience panel. Thank you all for being here tonight. Before we begin, a show of hands, how many of you would like to see me smear cottage cheese all over my naked chest? I'm afraid that was last night's show. I'm very sorry. All right, Rob, you work in showbiz, or so you claim. Showbiz is a phrase I like to use.
Me too. That's what we use out there in the
showbiz. Yeah, showbiz. This is my theory. What if Hollywood used their talents to make videos against something that mattered, like jihadism, instead of junk food? Wouldn't that be a better use of time? It's too easy to go after cupcakes. Why not Al-Qaeda?
Actually, it's really hard to go after cupcakes. Are delicious. I don't know how you feel about Al-Qaeda, but they're not delicious.
That's true.
People aren't lining up to the Sprinkles Al-Qaeda store, by the way, just so you know. Actually, I don't know why Hollywood's trying to do that at all. You remember when Gary Coleman sat on Nancy Reagan's lap and Just Say No thing? It didn't really stop people from taking drugs.
That's true.
In fact, a lot of them are now legal. I mean, weed is now legal in many, many states. So it's kind of better for Hollywood to stay out of it altogether. And that little trailer, which, by the way, if that was a cut down, I hate to see the actual sketch.
It's 37 minutes.
Holy, yeah, that's a long one. I don't want to see that movie.
Yeah, you know. And as you said, the Just Say No thing. Look what happened to Gary Coleman.
Yeah, well, I can't remember what happened.
Oh, yes.
I know it was not good.
It was not good. It ended badly. Lou, you're a big fan of Chloe Grace Moretz, the star of that video. We were talking about it in the green room. What did you make of this?
I make of it that apparently some people had a lot of free time on their hands, and there was one spare carrot, and they didn't know what to do with it, so they gave it to the First Lady. I don't understand the whole thing. I mean, we've done so much with school lunches without a lot of help from First Ladies or government, but maybe this is something better. Kids apparently have decided not to eat at all.
Yes.
And you know.
Yes, we're promoting anorexia and bulimia. Camille, I think the video, like Rob said, might have an opposite effect, causing kids to swamp Twinkie stores There are Twinkie stores, aren't there?
Yeah, yes, there are.
Or Dorito hubs out in the plains, the fruited plains of
You're
America.
just covered in orange powder.
That is entirely possible.
They will snort the orange powder, Joanne. They will snort it. What do you think this is worthwhile? Waste of time?
You know, I don't mind when humor attempts to have some sort of political agenda associated with it. I don't even have to agree with you, but you can't compromise the funny. It can't be political before it's funny. And this was uncomfortably unfunny. I mean, you take vegetables and you make them even less funny than they already aren't.
Yes.
It was really bad.
Yeah, that's true. You know, Joanne, when you're horrifically drunk, you never reach for a carrot stick. It's always a stick of butter. Do you think this has any chance?
I actually made an egg sandwich last night.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how much butter I put on there until it was dripping. It was delicious.
I'm sure it was. Did you eat it in bed?
It soaked everything up. It was awesome.
And then you woke up and you're going, what did I do?
You know, there are people who pay good money for pictures.
No. I'm not in the cloud, sir.
Yeah. But he's sitting here at the table, so you don't even need the cloud.
But I think the main issue is when you label food good or bad, because then kids develop this complex. They then see food as evil when it's not. And like you said, that's how eating disorders start. And seeing things like this, or these kids who don't have their fun snacks in the, what are they called? Vending machines. They are going to binge when they leave school. They are angry. They are frustrated. They're going to do ice bucket videos, but it's going to be like a bucket of lard. And they're going to be like, look at me, Michelle. Look at what I'm doing.
That's true. You might have actually started something. But I'm going to go back to my original point before moving on. It bugs me that a highly produced, very expensive video is used as propaganda for their savior, President Obama, when they could use that same energy to counter a terror threat. Like do videos that mock these losers, use special effects to scare the hell out of them.
Well, and they watch it. We know that they watch it.
Well, that's where they're getting all their skills and expertise, are from watching, videos.
Yeah, and there are plenty of young Americans, apparently, who are now in Syria and Iraq fighting for ISIS. So maybe we could just save. I'd rather have a bunch of fat kids, none of whom are beheading people on YouTube. Than a bunch of really kind of lean, kind of cut young men in Syria.
There are not a lot of fat people. You notice those with radical Islam, not a lot of fat people screaming and yelling over there, Lou.
It must be the absence of Twinkies, which is one of the reasons that their culture has not kept pace with Western civilization. I love it when we make discoveries like this on your show, because I don't know, I see the body of public knowledge enlarging right before our eyes. And that means that solutions are at hand.
Very good. That was an amazing way to button up that segment. Do kids need tricks to learn 9 + 6? Well, we did the math, and Common Core is a stupid chore. This week, my favorite kind of week, a local news station in Buffalo, love their wings, broadcasts a series of videos to help parents understand their children's Common Core homework this year. Here's the new way to add 9 + 6, because the old way took forever.
So our young learners might not be altogether comfortable thinking about what 9 + 6 is. They are quite comfortable thinking about their friend 10. 10 is emphasized in our young grades as we're working in a base 10 system. So if we can partner 9 to a number and anchor 10, we can help our students see what 9 + 6 is. So we're going to decompose our 6. And we know 6 is made up of parts. One of its parts is a 1. And the other part is a 5. We're now going to anchor our 9 to a 1, allowing our students to anchor to that 10. Now our students are seeing that we have 10 plus 5. Having now more comfort seeing that 10 plus 5 is 15. That's much more comfortable than looking at 9 plus 6.
That was easy. And it only took 54 seconds. So to review, 9 plus 6 is so terrifying that we now have to partner 9, anchor 10, and decompose 6. Next, she tackles subtraction.
Jerry had 37 baseball cards at the beginning of the summer. Throughout July and August, Jerry gave 16 cards to his brother Sam. We want to find out how many baseball cards Jerry has left. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to build our hole.
Good Lord.
Who starts building a hole during the word problem? Finally, here's the Common Core method for long division.
1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4. 5 potato, 6 potato, 7 potato more.
See, I learned so much there that I didn't learn before. Camille, do you feel bad for the parents? By the way, I think I might be totally wrong. This stuff might actually work, but it doesn't work.
I'm deeply skeptical.
Okay.
I don't understand any of this. I don't understand why we're still teaching children arithmetics when we have calculators.
That's true.
Calculators are amazing. You can punch in any combination of numbers with those symbols in between, gives you an answer.
That's so true.
Spell out funny
resisting.
words.
Yes, like boobless.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's great.
You remember boobless.
No, actually,
I don't even know how to do boobless. All I know is you turn the calculator upside down and it reads boobless.
Yeah, it was funny.
It was funny.
Actually, every
are
single
fun.
one of those videos that we just saw was funnier than the funny video we saw, the Funny or Die video.
That's so true.
actually true.
But I kind of forgot what
Which
9
is
plus
sad.
6 is.
Yeah, it's well, okay. Remember, 10 is your friend.
Right. But look, if you have a minute, yeah, that's right.
Sam is your brother.
Yeah, right. And you're about to rip him off of all his baseball cards.
Exactly.
But look, if you have a minute, I mean, anybody, anything can come up with the right answer if you have a minute to do it. There's two gerbils named Blackie and Scooter who can come up with the right answer if you give them a minute to do it. I'm sure of it. So I'm not really convinced. Actually, I disagree with you. I think memorizing this stuff is kind of good. It's discipline. The kids actually are better when they're memorizing.
There are other things to memorize.
Nope.
Like, we don't need to memorize phone numbers anymore.
They should memorize.
But what if you lose your phone?
They should
There's
memorize.
War and Peace for crying out loud. You don't need this stuff.
Ask yourself this. We are number 99 in all the country rankings for math.
Because
and
we won't use calculators.
And number 1 and 2 are Korea and China. Are they doing that?
They have
Are
calculators.
they saying 10 is your friend? No. They're saying, you tell me what 9 plus 6 is and memorize it, or I will beat you to death.
Yes. And by the way, that works, I must say. But you know what? I loved multiplication tables.
Yes.
I liked it. It was fun, and that was kind of just, it was drone work, but you enjoyed it. It was a sense of accomplishment.
You know, what I love is the Common Core now frowns upon actually having a memory. That's cheating if you actually learn something by rote
Exactly.
and have at your command a series of numbers that can be replaced by Camille's calculator. You know, this is a generational thing. My generation, after we gave up the stone tablets, we just used our minds. It was
skip the abacus.
My kids actually look at me strangely when I do a calculation just without a calculator.
Well, that's often because you're wearing a toga.
Well, there's some other things too.
Yes, it's like, why does he always do that at home? Toga Lou, they call him. Joanne, you didn't want kids before, but you must want them now.
Well, I need them to explain to me the math, because I certainly didn't understand that. The thing is with kids, they always ask why, right?
Yeah.
Why is this? Why is this? So these educators took it literally, and they're like, okay, I guess we have to explain why 9 plus 6 is 15. I loved, too, even I'm still young, but we had to memorize all our simple addition, subtraction, multiplication.
Excellent.
We would have flashcards, and it would be a game, you know? Whoever's team could, like, get the answer right first. That's how you learn. There's incentive. And then for this understanding why, you had word problems.
Right.
Where there was the two gerbils.
Yes.
Did whatever.
Yeah, the two. I think it's a. Richard goes to a pet shop and gets 2 gerbils.
We don't know his name is Richard. I don't know why you said his name.
Only one comes
only one comes back.
Right.
But was there a discovery that
And the one comes back is shaking uncontrollably and doesn't want to be held.
Is there,
Yes,
was there some sort of survey conducted, though, that suggested that we have a dearth of people that don't know what 9 plus 5 is? The notion that you need to reinvent
Have you been to Quiznos? Yes. We have a lot of people who don't know what 9 plus 6 is.
But they have registers, the cash registers.
Yeah, with pictures on them.
You're right. No numbers.
I tell you, memorization's the thing to do.
Yeah.
Here's my question, because there are 3 of us, or 4 of us rather, who work at Fox, but you just started technically. You get a lot of mail from angry parents about Common Core, and when I was on my book tour, people would come up to me and go, you have to do this. You have to, and they give me information. I go like, I don't know what you're talking about because I don't have kids.
Yeah.
But it's like a huge, passionate thing. And it's like
a big deal.
Do you do it on your show a lot? Because I don't know how to explain it.
We don't do it a lot, other than to say that the government has succeeded in a stealth campaign to completely convert the nation's public schools curricula. It is an amazing achievement by this administration. It's not one of which it should be proud. And parents are absolutely infuriated across the country, as you say.
Yeah. I don't know how to respond.
I got to say, one of the politicians that I admire the most, for real, is Jeb Bush, former governor of Florida.
He likes this.
And he is a Common Core supporter. And I think it started, or its goal is to establish very rigorous national standards.
Right.
The problem is that whenever you do that, you end up with something idiotic like this, like somebody telling you that 10 is your friend and 9 is scary. And I think that's part of the problem, is that, left in the hands of professional educators, there is no possibility of education.
Or professional politicians like Jeb Bush, for whom I don't hold your an affection similar to your own. I mean, these are folks walking around, they're milquetoast, they have basically immense privilege and prerogative, and they decide that public schools are going to be awash in people. Aside from the math and the mechanics of it all, that woman, her tone as an educator. My God, if I had been 9 years old listening to something like that, I would have run out the door.
I found her quite soothing.
I did too.
I did. I enjoyed. I could have listened to her.
Or would you rather a robot?
I thought about robots, but I think about robots for everything.
I think she was a robot. Was she not a robot?
She was a delightful teacher. I think she was actually trying to help parents. She was trying to help parents.
Yeah.
I think that she was.
Explain it.
Yeah, she was.
I want to just say how wrong I was. I think this woman was terrific. I was absolutely enraptured by this woman. Who has, I'm going to read a book.
The other thing, it's like this whole 10 is your friend thing is a bit weird.
Yeah.
So, I mean, why do we call numbers odd? That's kind of weird. Like, isn't that hurtful?
It is.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to start personalizing numbers.
Prime.
And some are prime.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Yeah. And what's with negatives? Negative integers.
That doesn't seem fair.
It doesn't
Just get rid of
negatives. We don't need them anyway.
What are integers?
Oh, okay.
I'm going. Coming up. I don't even know what that meant. Or did I? We're going to talk about that next block. Lou Dobbs wrestles a 35-foot cobra. You don't want to miss this, America. That's directed at actress America Ferrara. She hasn't done much since Ugly Betty, but I know she's watching, because she sends me the letters. But first, what should we do to ISIS? Part 4 in a never-ending saga. From suburbia to Syria, Americans taking up arms has set off alarms. On Wednesday, a day of the week, Lou, Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel said that over 100 U.S. citizens have traveled to the Middle East, I like to call it, to fight with ISIS forces. And as NBC News reported, one of them was busted last month at Kennedy Airport. Don Morgan, isn't he in Mad Men? Had tried to enter Syria from Turkey to join the jihadis, but was stopped at the airport in Istanbul. Why did they stop them? From suburban North Carolina, he converted to Islam after failing to get through National Guard boot camp. That's the natural progression. The former 40-year-old ex-cop, former 44-year-old, now he's still 44, talked to NBC News earlier this summer while in the Middle East.
I purchased a ticket with the intent of entering to Syria, either joining up with medical and food aid convoys or directly with Islamic State.
But does he think he's participating in terrorist activities?
Based on their definition, yes.
He's like that toy that kids have that has the beard and you shake it and it's bald. What's it called?
What did you play with?
I think that's from your dream journal.
It's from my dream. Yeah. Okay, then it was a unicorn. Lou!
Yeah. Yes.
He says he was participating in terrorist activities, but only based on our definition of terrorism. Should we cut him some slack?
None whatsoever. I mean, I like to be kind about these things, but he's obviously an idiot and one who aspires to being a lethal idiot.
Yes.
Of which the world has a sufficient number that should be significantly reduced quickly.
I like that. It's true. Just because you're incompetent doesn't make you less evil.
Exactly.
It just makes you bad at being evil.
And to have an attitude as he does, there's sort of a sense of personal superiority about it all that I don't see where he earned it.
Yeah. Well, he didn't. That's why he acts that way. Camille, he wasn't arrested for terrorism, but I think he was trying to sell a gun on eBay or something. What should we do? You're a libertarian.
Yeah.
Should we, what?
I don't think that there's anything wrong at all or inconsistent with libertarian ideals to the government noticing someone wants to go to a hotbed of terrorism, tracking that person and following them. My objection has always been to mass surveillance, suspecting absolutely everyone, because if you're doing that, it doesn't strike me as particularly efficient. We don't need to be watched. Those people, on the other hand, do. One quick correction, Mr. Hagel did say 100 people. He actually misspoke. a Pentagon official later came out and suggested it was somewhere around a dozen odd people who might be with ISIS. The rest of them are joining some of these various groups that are out there, which I think is a great object lesson that we ought to take away from this situation. Folks are changing affiliations all the time. I don't know that we actually want a greater share of the responsibility for that horrible, horrible mess that is going on in the Middle East and Syria and Iraq right now.
He is making an interesting point, Rob. It seems like everybody over there is at war with each other, and it actually could end up reducing the what Lewis described as evil. I don't know where he got that idea, but no, that's a new word. But let them, you know.
Yeah, it's better to have them killing each other than killing us.
Yeah.
Well, you think that. Of course, Al-Qaeda now has decided to move into India. That's what they announced today. So what we have now is classic free market competition, the kind of thing libertarians like so much, in which terror groups are now competing with each other into creating new markets for themselves to expand. That's not necessarily a good thing if you're hanging out in peaceful United States of America. But I won't really be happy until that guy is in an orange jumpsuit in Guantanamo Bay.
Yes.
Which I guess we're going to close, but I can, if you squint, you can kind of see what he would look like in the Cuban sunshine, and I can't wait to see it.
Yes.
And what I really want to know is if it's 100 or dozens or however many Americans are now overseas fighting against us, who's watching Rachel Maddow? But I'm just kidding. No, really. That was a bad joke, but I thought I'd throw it in.
Oh, Joanne, you dated this guy briefly in the 90s. Did you think dumping him would have turned him into...
I'm trying to forget that. You just have to keep reminding me.
Yes, but you've turned so many men to radical Islam.
Yeah, I like to date men who weren't held as children.
Okay.
I think that's why they end up like this.
Yes.
I have to say, I hate interviews like this. I hate that we give them any sort of... It's not praise, but like trying to humanize them, to hear their story, because then other people who might turn radical see this and they go, oh, wow, look at this.
Right.
I can have that too. I can work towards something, even though that something is completely against everything our country stands for, and they should just go and never be allowed to come back.
It's the same thing I say about the coverage of spree killers, which these are people, the mentality is no different than a spree killer. They're generally envious, isolated losers who, and this is their way to get back at the world. And I always say, like, what we shouldn't be doing these 2020 specials on a guy who just shot up a school, because they know that causes them to happen some more, and this could do the same thing, unless you mock them mercilessly with a Funny or Die video. I don't know. There's a great piece by a philosopher today in the New York Times whose name escapes me, basically saying that these people are not fundamentalists because fundamentalists, holy men, have no issue with non-believers. These guys want to kill everybody who are non-believers, which makes them inferior losers, because why would you want to kill non-believers if you are secure about your religion?
And why does one care if a terrorist is secure in his or her religion whatsoever?
Yeah.
The New York Times, for which I have immense respect.
Of course.
That's for the objectivity, if nothing else.
I don't believe you.
The idea that people are trying to psychoanalyze terrorists. Part of the problem is there's been a short circuit between the president and our armed forces.
Yeah.
And that's the order to go kill. We don't need to understand. We don't need to acculturate. We don't need to talk about long wars. We need to talk about short wars and immediate victory.
I think there's something wrong with that thinking, though. The notion that you don't need to... Well, the notion that you don't need to understand the problem that you're trying to deal with. The notion that you're just at war with a bunch of guys as opposed to an ideology. You can't kill an ideology with a bomb. You've actually got to confront that.
Camille, because I admire the perspective you bring to it. And that is how successful has the long war view, the comprehension of culture, the sensitivity that David Petraeus, if I may finish,
please,
that we brought to the war in Afghanistan. And how has that worked? We went after the Taliban. We started in 2002,
right?
And now it's 2014, and the
A
Taliban.
short war.
It was a short war. In fact, our special operations forces and intelligence forces, in fact, secured Afghanistan for 9 months before the military then turned it upside down. You remember Tora Bora. So where are we now with this ignorant view of mine that we should spend a little time killing them rather than all this time understanding them.
I think, as I suggested a moment ago, the notion that you secured it for 9 months and then it all went to crap immediately thereafter.
I did that?
The notion that it was secured, you, the Americans, whoever else you'd like to call it, that it was secured for 9 months.
Those were Americans. I'm proud to call them Americans.
The notion that it was secured for 9 months and then it all went to crap immediately thereafter is a little bit absurd. The notion that we invested 10 years of effort, blood, sweat, and tears into a place like Iraq, built up their military, which immediately collapsed, seems really strange.
High levels of intellectual energy.
Seems really strange to me.
On the part of our general
That did not work out. It seems like we ought to acknowledge the fact that we destroyed Al Qaeda and something actually came out of that. Something came out of it, and it was ISIS. And if you don't understand, well, here's something you didn't understand. How about the sectarian tensions and realities that were there?
How about those religious guys who are fighting?
All right, you know,
there's a lot of religious guys.
Really good points.
I learned so many new words just now. My vocabulary is growing.
Oh, God.
I never know where things are going to go with this great show. All right, next we're going to talk about Homecoming.
Okay. Oh, we're elevating it.
Yes, we're going up. Then this thing. Sponsor, whatever.
Tonight's sponsor is Bottomless Glasses. Most hold liquids, but not ours. No, our specifically designed bottomless glasses are incapable of holding anything. Turn any party into a party foul with Bottomless Glasses. Great for spills, oopsies, and ruining your things. Thanks, Bottomless Glasses.
About the show is it's not made for the person sitting between two people arguing. So when there's two people debating, there's a guy going like this. What do I do with my hand? I don't know. Yeah. What do I do with my hand? Do I look at them?
I just want everybody to get along.
Yeah, you're like the child in a
That's why I
bad
said
marriage.
people need to understand.
Every Thanksgiving is like this.
Exactly. Should we do a fun story? Is she a jerk for not letting them twerk? A Vermont high school principal has canceled the homecoming dance because she's sick of the sexualized dancing. She blames Miley Cyrus for why their moves are so desirous.
Stop.
I don't even know what that means. In a letter to the local paper, Principal and Fun Police Staff Sergeant Sue McGuire explains, quote, since Miley Cyrus took the stage twerking at the 2013 MTV Video Music Awards, our students' dancing behavior has crossed the line of what we can condone as appropriate behavior at a school. She notes that the highly sexualized dancing makes some girls feel uncomfortable because no one asks permission before grinding, nor do they ask the other person if they want to dance. I feel the same way when Geraldo was in the green room. He's just a scruffy little animal. And Rob, they canceled the dance, but they kept the football game. Which is worse for our kids?
Well, they're both. Listen, I'm the wrong guy to ask because I am kind of an expert in twerking.
Yes, you are.
Big Frida started it, New Orleans performer of indeterminate gender, and Lady, of course, Lady, the video twerking, which you probably couldn't even show.
You can't show it with the butts. It's amazing, that video.
The problem is that Vermont is 96% white. I checked it today.
Yes.
And white people can't even twerk anyway.
Whoa.
Sorry.
I don't think this is a racial issue.
Well, it is now.
You're going to get a lot of nasty mail.
That's fine. And I'll be wrong. And I feel like that she should just let them try at least. I mean, it can't hurt you to try.
It can't hurt. Camille, do you buy his theory?
No.
Yeah, okay.
I reject this theory. I will say this principle is right, at least a little bit. Miley Cyrus is a terrible ambassadress for twerking. She's awful at it. Look at that. Yeah. That is Beyonce Knowles. Beyonce Knowles is a remarkable talent. She has all of the appropriate assets. Assets is the word I think we're looking for. When it comes to twerking, it is a skill. You master it. You work at it. I know Lou Dobbs and I completely agree on this. We talked about it
How long are we going to keep this
Miley
up?
Cyrus has ruined a beautiful art form.
The truth is, I agree with you 100% about Miley. I think Miley, it's not exactly sexual the way she does it.
No.
Beyonce, I have to agree with you, is somewhat sexual.
Yeah.
Now I'm really uncomfortable.
Maybe you're more of an Amber Rose fan
But can I say something? I mean, it's a serious for a minute about Miley Cyrus.
Right.
I am on the board of a homeless youth agency in Hollywood called My Friend's Place. Miley Cyrus, the Video Music Awards, gave her a mic to that homeless guy, and I know people made fun of it.
I did
on that show.
I did.
Certainly they shouldn't have done
She
that.
did an amazing thing for us.
Right.
And I am eternally grateful to Miley Cyrus.
So now you
she can twerk all she wants as far as I'm concerned.
Now you make me feel bad because I said that she went and found the hottest homeless guy who was then wanted for an outstanding warrant. He was he was homeless not because he didn't have a home, but because he left his home.
Whereas most homeless people.
It's the thought
it's a complicated
that counts.
issue. That's all I'm saying.
Thought that counts.
You should have said,
But good on you
She
for
could
giving her props.
She can twerk all she wants.
yeah, you should have said it was problematic.
She's a twerking hero.
She's a twerking class hero.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Wow, you just did that.
I did. I just did that.
You just did that.
Yes, I did. You seem so surprised.
Well, because I don't
There's
usually think
nothing
of you as
better than
somebody who can
hearing
think.
grown men talk about twerking and analyzing every twerk. This has been enjoyable for me.
All right. Well, you were in high school, Joanne, probably like a month ago.
Yeah.
Is it worse than before?
Jealous? Yeah.
Old guy.
No, it's definitely worse. I remember my friends and I had homecoming dances. When we would dance, we would do like silly dancing, like the shopping cart or the water sprinkler, all that stuff.
Right.
You know, this is gross. There's an easy solution, though. Parents are invited to the homecoming dance as well, because any girl that twerks in front of her father has no soul.
That's good.
Wait a minute. Well, unless you're Miley Cyrus. Billy Ray has seen it all.
All right.
That's
Rob,
fair.
you're up again.
I'm Jamaican. I don't know if you're familiar with carnival, grinding, whining, daggering.
Yes, I've heard daggering.
I mean, this is at that school.
Are you trying to claim authorship here? Is that what
No, I'm not claiming authorship. You see, when I do this, that means I mean business, not claiming authorship.
That's a Bill Clinton thing,
It
right?
is.
It's the Bill Clinton thing. It's like
or I'm holding a pen.
Yeah.
Actually, is it
In which
the
case,
left
I'm
hand
Bob
he
Dole.
uses?
well-
he always had the thumb sticking
Well,
up.
he'll use any hand.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where are we in this story?
Well.
Yes. Rob, I want to commend you on your work with homeless teens.
Thank you.
I often say I do work with homeless teens, but I'm often lying. I'm usually explaining something to an officer.
Just because they're staying in your home doesn't mean that they're
Well, not in the home. Not in the home.
Yes. Well, you know, some need a roof over their head, Rob. And anyway, yes, the music saves me again. Oh, that was a pretty good topic, actually. Me and the teens coming up. We're going to talk trust on Teen Corner. It's going to be rad, to the extreme, in your face. Also, not cool. If you haven't ordered it yet, you're not cool, which makes you actually kind of cool, which means you shouldn't order it. No, order it. Amazon.com, autographed copy, gutfeld.com. And now it's time for America's all-time favorite segment. Most people call him Lou Dobbs, but to me, he's Lowell Dobbs. LOL.
Previously on Lowell Dobbs.
Good evening, everybody. We've got a lot to cover tonight. The president today stepping forward to lead the fight against the terrorist group, the Islamic State. President Obama. Joining us now, former Senator Scott Brown. Good to have you with us. Let's start with...
Good to be on, Lou. Thank you to you and your...
Well, we're glad to have you.
Well, the thing is, he's got to stir up the base, Lou. So I hate to be so blunt with you, but that's what this is about.
It's okay. I can handle it. I can handle it.
He's got to get...
That's the perfect amount of happy days chortling.
Yeah.
Well, you remember there was that weird echo chortle?
Chortling?
Yes.
My broadcast chortling?
All right.
We aspire to chortle.
Exactly. That was beautiful. All right. They're more gloomy than the baby boomy. Millennials' level of trust in people and institutions is way lower than previous generations. New study shows that 16% of high school seniors believe most people can be trusted. By comparison, in the mid-'70s, when baby boomers were in high school, 1/3 of seniors felt that way. Says one cynic, I do not trust the government as far as I can throw a car, which is not very far at all. Sounds like these millennials need a pep talk with someone they can trust, and I know just the person. Welcome to Teen Corner with Greg Gutfeld. I'm Greg Gutfeld, or Gut Wrench, as the high school wrestling team calls me. While Teen Corner has a strict no adults allowed policy, millennials are recent teens, and that's radical enough for this bad boy, the G squared. Before I get real with the teens, though, I'd like to share a letter from another teen fan. They're writing me constantly, dear Mr. Gutfeld. This is Josh from Denver. Last month, my son flew to New York City to attend one of your Get Rad with Greg seminars. We haven't heard from him since. We got a postcard from him saying, I'm fine, Greg's awesome, I'm not dead. It didn't look like his handwriting. We are worried. We're thinking of contacting the. Oh, don't even think about that. It was a silly prank. You'll see him soon enough. I'm sure you will. All right, let's talk about Teen Corner or whatever we're doing. Lou, as the only millennial on the panel this evening, do you have similar feelings of mistrust?
Yes, I do. Deep-seated, and I've gotten like a lot of solid empirical feedback that suggests that my mistrust is not misplaced.
Yeah, you've been way ahead of the curve on mistrust.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Greg.
you're the original. Rob, certain factors like technology and media, are they to blame?
Well, not to blame, but I mean, they're part of the factors, right? But I mean, the millennials elected the president, right?
That's
so they're the ones who put the guy in the White House, and I guess he's the chief betrayer in commander betrayer in chief, and he's the one they probably feel the most betrayed by. But I mean, these people have to relearn this lesson over and over and over again. That yeah, you're right, government isn't the solution. So I'm not sure this is a bad thing. It's kind of a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing to become disillusioned. The younger you're disillusioned, the better. It makes you more vulnerable, Camille, which is good for everybody. Vulnerable. Millennial is a good millennial. Young people have lost a lot of trust in government, yet they've been voting in larger percentages. Why do you think that is?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure why they're voting in larger percentages. What I thought was really interesting about the study is that while the trustworthiness or their perception of trustworthiness of other people seems to be sliding in government and institutions, they're also increasingly optimistic.
Right.
And if you look at those trends together, that looks like people who, generally speaking, are interested in evidence and analytics and data. I think that's a good thing, and maybe technology is driving it. Maybe we're outsourcing trust with apps like Yelp and stuff like that. You know where to go, who to trust. You're sourcing your news with Facebook and Twitter.
We don't watch the news. We watch Scandal. So I have been binge watching Scandal, and I'm convinced it's TV shows and movies. Yeah. The other day I was in Duane Reade, and I was convinced someone was following me. Convinced. I think that everyone's like a secret double agent, and they're like, I don't know, I have a second mom or like something weird.
Yes.
So my mistrust is because of all the stuff I'm watching.
Yeah. But the weird thing is, like you're watching Homeland and you thought your boyfriend at the time was actual secret jihadist. Turns out he was.
You stop bringing that up.
Well, it's hard.
You signed a waiver, and you just broke it.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I just think it's bad for your generation if you sound like the name of a cookie. Like Pepperidge Millennials.
Yeah, Mint Millennials.
Mint Millennials.
Not tough.
It just seems kind of silly.
Why is it bad for them? Why is it bad for them to be disillusioned? I think it's good.
No, I think it's healthy.
No, because then we suffer in every other area of our lives, like relationships. We never trust.
Oh, yes.
Oh, honey, nobody ever trusts in relationships. Doesn't matter how old you are. I got some bad news for you. It doesn't get any better.
Great, I have a lot to look forward to.
Why have we decided that being wary, and not blindly trusting, is the same thing as being disillusioned? One isn't necessarily related to the other. It seems to me. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. In fact, it's almost kind of what Rob is saying. It's a positive thing.
Yes.
It means you've acquired knowledge about how screwy things are, and you're sober and you're skeptical. Yeah, you don't believe in panics anymore.
Also, you don't believe in a big fancy solution. I mean, as an example, a major administration initiative was the healthcare, Obamacare, right?
Yeah.
Everyone who knew something about technology knew these kinds of things probably don't work.
Right.
You had to be kind of naive and foolish to think it was gonna work.
Did you say a liberal?
I did not say that.
All right. We got to move on because they're telling me to move on. All right, coming up, Joan Rivers, dead. Going to talk about that. Stick around. And here's a transition. You have videos of animals. Send them to us, foxnews.com/redeye. See that arrow? So anyway, as we know, it's big news, sad news. Joan Rivers died today at 81. She's been in the hospital for a bit. Rob, you work, you produce Cheers. Like, everybody seems to believe that when you work in show business,
you know everybody.
You know everybody. So I'm assuming you did meet her at least once.
I did meet her once. This is a woman who started writing jokes for the puppet on the Ed Sullivan Show. So, I mean, she really is kind of OG, as the kids say.
Yes.
In terms of show business, to go back to your original statement, it's in showbiz, right?
Yeah.
So it is kind of amazing, passing of the torch, really, that she's gone. I mean,
is there anybody else like her though? Because I mean, I think there is, but in this era, you can't be totally as outrageous because there are too many people that are put a target on you.
Well, like Kathy Griffin, right?
Yeah.
Does a lot of that too. The celebrity, she'll poke fun at them, but then she gets on everyone's blacklist.
Yeah.
But I feel like Joan Rivers, a lot more people respected her. I don't know if that's an age thing or just her experience working with so many people. But it's going to be hard for someone else to have a career like that.
Yeah, it's
Well,
also
I mean, Kathy Griffin has a career because of Joan Rivers.
Right.
I think she would probably agree to that.
yeah, but it's also in a way, it's like if Don Rickles came out now, he wouldn't have a job, right?
Right.
I mean, do you remember the roasts, the stuff that they did, Lou? I mean, what he would say about Sammy Davis Jr., what he was, if Freddie Prinze was there, if there was anybody of any ethnic background, Rickles went after him.
Well, the great thing about Rickles and Joan Rivers is they really didn't give a damn.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah.
They had humor on their side and great wit. And when they went after somebody, everyone got a laugh out of it.
Yeah, including the person they went after.
Exactly. And if that's somehow, we're so constricted as a society now that our entertainers can't do that, or those who have that talent can't do that, that's a shame because they were terrific.
And interesting, because when the news came that she was dead, the first thing I thought was, oh, you know, she died the way she lived, getting surgery. And I thought, oh, that's kind of a mean thing to say, but I think actually you could say it about Joan Rivers because she would have said it about herself.
Sure. Exactly. She would expect that. That's the thing, though, Camille. I think that in this modern era, we are busy underestimating the thickness of skin. It's like we believe now that everybody cannot handle what could have been handled 20 years ago. Or something.
Yeah,
like we're babies.
Sort of double checking before you tell a joke. And she, I mean, from what I could tell, seemed to really be fearless and unapologetic. Tell the joke, let it hang out there, and not worry about coming back a couple of weeks later to say, oh, I'm so sorry if I offended you. No, it's a joke. Get over it. It's supposed to.
There was even a recent thing. Where she was asked to apologize. Of course, now I can't remember for the life of me what it was, but it was, you know, PC police were on her for it, and she was like, I'm not apologizing.
Yeah. She went after the president, made a crack, which, you know.
Was it about Michelle Obama or something? It was
she said something about both of them.
Yes. Yeah. And
notice that we're immediately springing forward and to learn what they were called by Joan Rivers.
Yeah, but no, we have no idea because none of us did any research. No. That's the nature of Red Eye. We don't care about research. We care more about you than doing our actual homework. Any last words? I got 30 seconds. Pick a word.
A real quick word. The idea that our society imposes a sense of duty and obligation to be offended, perhaps that'll go away in time.
One day we'll look back at this era and go, boy, were we babies. All right. Joanne Nosacki, Camille Foster, Rob Long, Lou Dobbs. That was a hell of a show. I'm Greg Gutfeld. I'll see you next time. Bye.